All right, hello everybody. It's been a long time. I don't even remember the last time I made a video. I guess I made that Elisp series. Haven't been blogging all that much either, but periodically. But basically, I've been retired and figuring out next steps, and I just haven't, since I haven't really been doing anything new, so I haven't had new needs with Emacs in order to motivate a video. I don't know if this is just going to be a one-off or if I get inspiration, but we'll see. But I figured I'd throw this one together. One of the things I've been doing is I've been working with Stuyvesant's Alumni Association. That's where I went to high school 100 years ago, and then I taught for close to 100 years, for many, many years, did CS there started to work with them to put on some tech events and I was working on something with them this morning, and I had to pull together a bunch of email addresses from different sources. So I had like spreadsheets where I'd have to go through the spreadsheet manually and find names, and then I would want to copy over an email address. Ultimately, I'm going to be sending an email to a group of former students. But I had to cull from different sources, or then I might have to go to LinkedIn and click on the contact information and cut it over, or I might have another document with some emails in it. But the point is I had these different sources, and I didn't want to sit there, like even if it was just all in a spreadsheet, I'd have to kind of click on the cell, mark the cell, copy it, paste it, all old school wise, and then put it into a form that I could use. And so I thought, this should be automatable. So what I wanted to do is I was like, okay, well, if I go through these spreadsheets, I still have to copy stuff out of them. And I still have to manually parse them. You have to manually go through them and say, oh, there's an email I want, there's an email I want, there, etc. But on the other hand, it's a lot easier just to, if you're in a spreadsheet, clicking an entire line, cutting and pasting it, rather than clicking the cell and then copying over the individual stuff from the cell, or at least for me. And so what I did is I started copying over emails, and then I'd get others from other sources, and I ended up, because I obviously put all these into Emacs, with a document that had emails in it, but not in a standard form. And I was like, it would be really nice if I could just run a command that would extract all these emails from this document and basically, give them to me all in one shot. And so I wondered, does Emacs do that? It's like, well, is there something that'll be basically collect all the regex, search for, kind of like search all and pull them out, not search all and replace, but search all and extract. And I couldn't find anything, and this was kind of frustrating because I just did Advent of Code, as many people did, in December, and so I coded that in Python, not in Python, in Clojure mostly, with some Python, and a lot of those problems you have to kind of extract data from text using regular expressions, or at least I use regular expressions, and in Clojure there's something called re.seq, for sequence, which will basically, you give it a regular expression, and it basically finds all of the regular expressions, everything that matches regular expressions, and gives it to you in a list. And that's exactly what I wanted here. And so I thought, well, Emacs doesn't seem to have that, but we can probably roll it together, and that would probably be a useful thing. So that's what we're going to be walking through today. Now, what I have here is this is just I went to an online text generator, like one of these AI text generators that are free online, and I'm like, give me a random document that has at least 10 email addresses in it, or something. I said something like that. So I don't know, this is just some made-up story, but you'll see there's Mia Artist at email.com and Leo Designer at email.com. They all look to be email.com, but fine, that's fine for our purposes. Now, and I figured this is fine for this demo. Yeah, most of the data I had was a little bit more regular, because I cut and paste from spreadsheets for the most part, but even then there were irregularities. So basically, what I figured I could work this around is I could look for regular expressions. So I couldn't do this for RE-seek to get them all, but I could do, I could basically do something like search forward regex. So there's a search for the search forward regex, and I could look for some regular expression. Let's just look for at email.com for now, and it finds it there. But notice what it did. It found the first email, but it positioned it to me afterwards. So if I do this again, search forward regex for at email again, it then finds the next one, and then finds the next one, and then finds the next one. So what I figured I could do is I could leverage that in order to write a function in Elisp to go through all of the matches. So let's start throwing this together. So we're going to, I'm just going to put this at the bottom here. And I'll call this REC, just based off of, and we're going to give it a regular expression just off of what I call it enclosure. And this is going to basically return a list of all matches for regex. Fine, okay. So what we're going to do is let's just first do a little test. Let's just first go to character 1. Actually, what we'll do is let's first do the usual, which is save excursion. And what save excursion does, it just kind of saves the point, it saves where we're at. And I'm also going to save restriction. I don't think I would always do this, but what I've been doing more recently is I've been narrowing my buffers. And this way, if if in here I want to do this for my whole document, I want to widen my buffer. And the save restriction will just kind of restore that, and then save excursion will restore my point. So everything that I do in here will then be reset. So just as a very simple, the only thing I want to do here is let's just go to character 1, because I want to start my search at the beginning. So let me just, run this, Control-X, Control-E. I just type Control-C, Control-C, so because I'm so used to doing closure coding these days with Cider. If I just do a RE-seek and my regular expression will be email, and I run that, it's just returning 1. It's not doing it. It doesn't seem to have done anything. But if I didn't do my save excursion, and let's just do this. Notice that now I'm up here because I didn't save everything. I didn't save my excursion. I didn't save my restriction. And so the go to car 1, I mean, widen didn't show anything because I haven't narrowed anything. But that's why we do those things. So let's save excursion, and let's save restriction, and let's widen and go to 1. These guys, there we go. Okay, so now we're at character 1, and I can do my search, and I could basically search forward by my regex, for my regex, and there are a couple of parameters for this. So if I do Control-HF for help on the function, or describe the function in the Emacs help system, you'll notice that the second argument, the bounds of the search, if it's nil, it goes to the end of the accessible portion of the buffer. That's what we want. The third option, no error. If it's nil or omitted, emit an error. If it's T, simply return nil and do nothing. So that's what I'm going to want to do, because if there's, I want it to return nil when it doesn't find anything, and we'll see why in a minute. And then the count is how many of these I want, which will be 1. So my parameters here are going to be nil, T, and 1. Now, if I just do the search here, actually, if I do this, I can run this. It won't be that interesting, but I'd have to spell save restriction correctly. But if I now run this, search forward regex. I have to search forward regex. And it gives me 437, and that'll be the position in the buffer where that first, where that match was. That'll be up, I guess here. Position 437. But then it comes back and whatever, not a big deal here. So we've done our search forward, but what we want to do is we want to keep doing this until I'm done. And for each of these, I want to build this into a result. So let's actually make a little change here. Let's find all of our matches. Did I do this right? Let me do this. Let me turn off par edit. Well, I haven't used it in so long that I forget how to use it. So let's just do that. And that's not going to do anything particularly interesting because it's just that let form. And if you recall from when I did my Elisp series, that's just setting up a variable matches that I can then use in here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into a while loop. And while this search doesn't return nil, while it's true it returns something, I'm going to push the match string with no properties, and I'll show this in a second why that's important, 0, onto matches. And let's see what that does here. If I just run this, and then at the end of all of this, I want to return matches. And notice that it hits all of the matches. So let me just talk about what we just wrote. This match string no properties, what it's going to do, it's going to give you the text from the last search. So basically that's it. It's giving us that last match, which in this case is just that email because it was just, hard-coded regex. And what it's going to do is I'm going to push that onto this list matches, which I set up here as my variable here, and then return it. The reason I do no properties is because the text itself has properties. So if I do this with properties, it's going to give me this information here, the faces, blah, 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 and that other stuff. So I want our no properties. All right, so now we're getting pretty close here. So let's actually test this with a real regular expression for this. So an email address will be, let's call it A through Z, 0 through 9, one or more of those. So that just means it's any number of characters. Oh, and there can also be a dot, which I have to escape because otherwise dot in regular expression will match anything. Followed by the @ symbol, followed by lowercase, uppercase, 0 through 9, however many of those, followed by another dot, followed by, let's call it A through Z, 3. And I think that will do it. And there we go. So notice it matched Alex student, Maria resident, Tom journalist. I mean, they're all at email.com, but we could change that. And this isn't a perfect regular expression. but it's good enough for my purposes. So we're almost done here. And this is just a good regular, just a good general use routine. And again, it's probably not perfect. I'm sure there's stuff that, edge cases and whatever that I could clean up on this, but fine for now. So let's just make our final routine, extract emails. Interactive. And we're just going to do another let. So addresses, which will be reseek of that. And let me just clean this up a little bit. So that's the beginning of the let. And we're just going to do addresses for now, just to see it. So let's run this. And now if we do escape X extract emails, I had a little error, which is, that should be addresses. So let's do it again. Extract emails. It doesn't do anything, or it doesn't appear to do anything. Let's do it this way. And it is extracting the emails. It's just pulling out the list. But what I actually want to do with this, I want to insert these in my buffer. So what we're just going to do is we're going to do map car. So it's going to map over all the items in that list. And our function is going to be pretty simple. All we're going to do is insert the character, or rather the email address, followed by a new line. And that's it. So now if I come down here and I do extract emails, bang, all my emails get thrown into from wherever my point is when I run this. And this is exactly what I needed. Now I could imagine this would actually be a pretty useful routine in general. Not just to extract emails. If I made that a default parameter and then allowed for another regular expression, I can think of instances where I want to pull a bunch of things from a document and get them together. But this is just another one of these cool things about Emacs is I could spend a few minutes, and I didn't know all of this when I started. I knew I could, like match string no properties. I didn't know what that was, but I knew there was something that was going to be able to, pull out the match from the search forward regex. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoy it, and we'll see if I come up with anything else to make videos for or whatever. But I'm glad to at least share this one with all of you.